Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I try to tell the team every year at the beginning of the year, nobody's going to remember what you hit this year. Nobody's going to remember what your ERA was this year, but everybody's going to remember.
It's always great to have a coach who really cares about his players and how well we do and how well we perform. So just seeing him come out here with fire in his eyes every day is something incredible.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a busy, hot, humid Wednesday. But that's what Sports Talk is. We are hot and we are humid and we like to sweat. And we are sweating all over this. For those of you driving through our great states, heading to the beach to soak up our water and our sunshine, this is what we do here in South Carolina this time of the year. We sweat. And we're happy to bring it to you. The sweat of hard work here on Sports Talk tonight. Phil Kornbluth, the Professor Tom Hayes from our studios in downtown Columbia. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of activity as we count it down to the first games of the regionals on Friday. And hear from Gamecocks and Tigers tonight. Also, we'll hear from Chanticleers, the head man, Gary Gilmore. They're on the bus heading to Raleigh to take on NC State, not take on NC State, to play in the NC State Regional, to take on St. Mary's of California beginning on Friday. We'll talk to him. How about some football chatter tonight here on Sports Talk? One of the teams that we haven't checked on from spring and looking forward to the season, Benedict College. And Coach Mike White will join us in the second hour to fill us in on their spring and getting ready for the upcoming season, his second with the Tigers, a team that's got a lot of players from the state of South Carolina on it. So the fact that they recruit heavily in state, use a lot of state players, good reason to keep an eye on the Tigers moving forward. And this being this particular Wednesday night, it's the return of SC Wild here on Sports Talk at 7:30. Captain Billy Downer back from the cool of Vermont to the heat and humidity of South Carolina. So there you go. That's the agenda tonight. Should be a great show. 800-956-7266 if you want to jump in with a comment, an observation, or a question. The question on the website, the poll question pro, is which teams will win their regionals? Clemson, USC. You can vote for all three because they're in different regions. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I'm going to go for the trifecta.
So you think Coastal wins on the road?
Yes. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. I think it's a very winnable situation for them.
There's only one home team there, NC State.
The bonus for them is the young pitcher who pitched for them in the Big South Championship game Saturday and pitched so well. He was a highly prized guy, had Tommy John. This is his first year. He's been brought along slowly. They've cut him loose. If they can count on him like he did Saturday, that's just an extra bonus for them. We'll talk with Gilmore about that coming up. We'll be right back. Been kind of a heavy news day. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of activity in recruiting. A lot of offers going out. We'll fill you in on all that coming up. We got folks to hear from related to the upcoming baseball regionals. We're going to talk some football with Coach White from Benedict. We're going to go to the great outdoors with SC Wild. So we are just jammed up here on a hot, humid 800-956-7266, the number. Let me hit you up on a few of the top stories, and then we can jump to some phone calls here early on. So go ahead and climb aboard if you want to join us tonight. The Golden Spikes semifinalists announced this afternoon. Clemson's Seth Beer actually leads the list because it's an alphabetical order, and Beer is the first thing in line. And so he's the only freshman on the list as well. So Seth Beer, one of the finalists for that award. Speaking of awards, the College Football Hall of Fame today announced the list of nominees for induction into its hallowed halls. And among those on the list, for the first time, Steve Spurrier. For the third time, Danny Ford. They are among the 75 players and 6 coaches from the FBS division. There are 95 players and 29 coaches from the lower ranks. A lot to choose from. They will announce the selections on the Friday prior to the national championship game in Tampa. You know what? That would be very appropriate for Ford and Spurrier to go in. Clemson could be there playing for the national championship, and it's in Tampa where Spurrier played and coached in USFL, got his start, I think, in coaching more or less. And there's no reason for those two not to be in. Obviously, Spurrier should go in, no questions about it. Great player in college, Heisman Trophy winner, innovator, game changer in coaching at Florida, and the success he had at South Carolina too. It's a no-brainer. Why Danny Ford's not in there yet is also kind of a question mark to me as well, considering the dominance that he had during his run at Clemson, winning a national championship, all those ACC championships, all those players that he sent to the NFL, the innovation that he brought to the game in terms of primarily recruiting and some of the ideas that he and his staff put into play when it came to recruiting. I know there's some chuckling going on out there. Yes, they had their recruiting issues and their probations and things of that nature, but they took recruiting to a whole new level when you talk about effort and planning and execution of the plan. But plus on the field, of course, I mean, he didn't bring hard-nosed football to football. It was there already, but he took that as well to the level with the style of play that he used at Clemson.
And I thought probably it was inadvertent, but it worked for him, Corn, is the fact that there were a lot of curmudgeon coaches around when Danny took the helm, and he said, I'm a young whippersnapper. I'm just as young as these guys that I got as assistants recruiting, so I might as well throw my energy in with it. You could tell almost by looking at his press conferences that Dick Crum didn't like to recruit, North Carolina coach. Vince was pretty much riding in the sunset or close to it, but then again, he would tell you, no, I didn't, because I had one more Herschel Walker up my sleeve. But Danny did a lot for recruiting as far as bringing energy to it.
Athlon has released its ranking of all the FBS teams 1 through 128. Who do you think 128 is? It's not New Jersey Tech.
No, I don't think they have a football team.
If they did, they'd be 128. North Texas has 127. Rowe is 126. Charlotte is 125. Up at the top, Alabama. Florida State is 2. Ohio State is 3, and Clemson is 4. What?
Why is Florida State 2?
And why is Clemson 4?
I have no idea.
Athlon, you're a bunch of idiots. Clemson 4. Are you kidding me?
They're probably thinking
they're so used, used to worshiping at the shrine of Saban. You know, Alabama's going to be number 1 regardless.
Heavyweight champ, you got to beat the man to beat a man.
If you don't have Clemson number 1
or
in
2.
your ranking, then your ranking is illegitimate.
Or 2.
Michigan is 5, Oklahoma 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, LSU 9, Ole Miss 10.
Michigan what?
5.
Too high.
Yeah. Georgia 16. We're the Gamecocks. Florida's 20. Hello, USC. North Carolina's 21. Anybody seen the Gamecocks? Baylor's 25. This was before. Well, yeah, they just did this. This has to be taken
In their magazine.
into consideration.
Going to 40s and 50s.
Gamecocks, Miami's 27. A&M is Virginia Tech's 29. Anybody seen the Gamecocks? Auburn is 35. Pittsburgh is 38. Mississippi State 41. Looking for USC. Georgia Tech 49. Duke 53. Come on. Kentucky 56. Vandy 57. Appalachian 58. NC State 59. Missouri 62. There they are. The Gamecocks at 63. Well, they're better than Wake Forest, 64, and Boston College, 65, and Maryland, 66.
Well, I want to ask.
Come on, they're better than that.
I want to ask a question.
Virginia, 72.
From what Miami did against Clemson last year, did they look like they were number 27 to you?
No, but that's going to be a different Miami team. That team
see.
quits, obviously. But I mean, Vanderbilt. Well, you know what? They'll play each other to open the season, and maybe South Carolina can move, past Vanderbilt into the mid-50s after they beat Vanderbilt to open the season.
I think some of these guys go on, if they see that question at quarterback, that's a big knock. That's a 20-point knockdown for you. And some questions on defense.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Auburn will be without running back Rock Thomas. Remember him, highly recruited guy out of Oxford, Alabama. He's left the team to go to play at Jacksonville State.
The Gamecock.
Which is right there in Oxford. So Clemson won't have to deal with him in the opener. So Auburn has who's left in the backfield? Javon Robinson had 90 yards or more in 5 of the last 6 games. He was the favorite coming out of spring. Kerryon Johnson, who hasn't played a lot. Freshman Malik Miller is there as well. So those appear to be the top ones. No plans on moving defensive back Rudy Ford to running back at that position as a freshman. At the SEC meetings today, the basketball coaches got together and met with the ADs and said that they want to move the tournament, the SEC tournament, up a day and finish on Saturday instead of finishing on Sunday afternoon. Their thinking is they want to give the selection committee more time to digest the results of the championship game and take into consideration, what happened there with the loser in particular. Maybe making sure that if that losing in the tournament, their thinking is there's just not a lot of time after playing on Sunday and finishing up around the 3:30, 4 o'clock Eastern time. The committee, the teams are going out in a couple of hours. They want to give the committee more time to examine the SEC's championship game.
That ain't it.
That's what they're saying.
Mm-mm. Let me tell you something. If you don't want to believe in the negativity of man, go right ahead. But if Alabama or the SEC team wins another football title, you're going to get messed up on your basketball picks. Y'all can't be good at both sports. We're not letting all of y'all in here. And I want somebody to sit here and stare me in the face and tell me that's not one of the problems.
I think it's silly.
I think it's silly, but I think it has some merit
I don't
to
think
it.
No.
I do.
No way in hell that's
I do.
Comes in. There's no way that committee sits there and says we're going to punish the SEC in basketball because their football is so dominant. Why don't they punish them in baseball? They don't punish them in baseball.
They can't.
Because
best baseball is played in the Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well face it.
Don't buy it. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. 800-956-7266 is the number. We'll be right back. And we're back, presented by the South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. You can learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. Let's jump to some phone calls here on Sports Talk. We go to Billy in North Augusta. Good to have you with us.
Phil, how's it going?
Doing great, sir. How are you?
Good. I heard you talking about Phil Lundquist last night retiring.
Yes.
Yeah, he is surely going to be missed. He's been doing it for the SEC for so many years. His voice, just that classic voice. And, you talked about him, the call on the Masters. He also had what might go down maybe one of the greatest college football plays.
Yes. I mean, listen, when you're calling those SEC games, especially in November, as he's done over all these years in some of the traditional big-time games, you're going to have a chance to call some big plays. And, yes, he had his opportunity, the kick six. And how about the week before? Wasn't he on the call of the Georgia-Auburn deal?
Yeah, I believe he was. Yeah.
So
back to back.
How lucky can you be as a broadcaster to have those kind of moments?
Yeah, crazy. Hey, what do you guys think about the championship? I think LeBron gets his revenge in 6. What say you?
Well, he averaged 35 points a game last year. Golden State's got practically the exact same team that beat them last year, and they may even be a tick better. They went through a war with Oklahoma City and probably realized some things. That can only help them moving forward. They've got the 7th game at their place. LeBron's going to get his points no matter what, because that's what LeBron is. He's going to get his points no matter what. Irving is there, but I'm going to, like you like to say, they're the champions until you knock them off. I'm going to stick with Golden State here once again because Curry and Thompson can bring them back from practically any deficit. And it doesn't matter who's guarding them, because they have no limit to their range. And they have no hesitation to shoot from anywhere. And then now the one area that Oklahoma City could beat them at.
Well, you mean Cleveland?
Well, no, in the previous, you can beat them up physically because they're not very big, and their big guy Bogut he's a robot out there, like us when he was drafted. But they get some minutes off the bench from a couple of other big guys. I still like Golden State. We hope it goes 7. I'd love to see a classic 7.
Here's the key to the whole series: is tomorrow night, because Cleveland wins tomorrow night, they win the title. Why do I say that? Because what Golden State went through against Oklahoma City, you're going to be human and you're going to exhale. And we all know, watching those Lakers-Celtics series, the best game to steal is what? Game 1 on the road. Cleveland steals it, they win the title. If they don't steal it tomorrow, forget it, LeBron. You won't win.
All right, we'll be right back. More sports talk coming up. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here from downtown Columbia. Thanks for joining us. Phil Kornblut, Professor Tom Hayes, Carson Mason, all with you tonight. Much ground to cover this evening. We'll get to recruiting in a little bit. A lot of offers to talk about and other developments there that we will share with you. Benedict College football coach Mike White in our second hour, SC Wild as well at the bottom of the next hour. We've heard this week from two of the three coaches taking their teams to the NCAA tournament. Let's hear from number 3. Not that he by any means is number 3 on that list. It just worked out this way for us to get him tonight. Coach Gary Gilmore from Coastal Carolina heading to Raleigh. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Phil, I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
As always, we appreciate it. Congratulations, another tournament appearance. I thought you'd get a home site if you won your tournament and sweep through it as you did. The committee saw it differently, but what did you guys hear anything back as far as how close you came to getting a home regional?
No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, once they make the decision, it doesn't really matter what swayed it. I'm sure there were several factors we were really close in, and at the end of the day, not having any top 50 schools in our league. I'm sure that had to be one of the things, because we just, even though we had the 4th hardest schedule, non-conference schedule in the country, it just couldn't overcome the fact that the league just didn't help us at all this past time.
Yeah, well, you're headed to NC State, and of course, NC State's a team that you've played many times. If you get a chance to play them over the weekend, but first is St. Mary's. Team you've never played before, and plus coming from the West Coast, a lot of people around here obviously don't know much about them. What have you learned about them in doing your due diligence for this game on Friday?
Well, their lineup, they're a scrappy bunch. They've got a couple of very talented offensive players, and the probably the thing they hang their hat on is the kid that's going to pitch against us Friday night. Or Friday afternoon. He's supposed to Burns kid. He's supposed to be one of the top 20 picks in the draft in June. So he's going to be a handful.
Well, you knew that, right? No matter who you play in the first round of the regional, you're going to see a good arm, right?
You're going to see a quality guy. So we're prepared, healthy. We're good to go, and I'm hoping we play with a little chip on our shoulder that we feel like we had earned the right to play at home, but hopefully that will a little bit of that last in us long enough to make it through the weekend.
What else about the St. Mary's team besides that starter have you learned in doing your preparation in terms of how good are they offensively, defensively? What kind of problems can they cause you?
Well, they offensively they have a leadoff hitter that's not a real fast kid, but he's a really talented, kind of makes your team go. The 2-hole guy is a center fielder, and very, very fast guy, a depth hunting, short game guy. And middle of their order, is a guy, a couple of guys that don't have a lot of power numbers, but they're really tough outs, especially they're one of the things they have in the middle of their order, they have 2 or 3 guys that tend to produce when it matters. When they get guys in scoring position, they hit about 100 points higher than their season average shows. So, they're guys that really bear down on tough outs. And, some of their lineup is, it's just part of the lineup that you got to control to keep from allowing the best guys to hurt you. So, we faced more offensively adept lineups during the year, but, again, when you have a guy like that on the mound, the runs are hard to get. So, we've got to be very attentive to their offense and really control them so that we can have a chance, hopefully, to scrap ourselves on our side and see if we can put some.
Yeah, I'm talking with Coach Gary Gilmore, and you said after the Big South tournament, you won that championship game 1-0, and you said, you really needed to tinker with your offense in terms of getting some things going at the plate. Have you been able to kind of fix some things in that area heading towards the regional?
I hope so. It's some of the stuff we've done has worked in the past when we've played some, when we faced the Barnes kid from Connecticut that was a first rounder, and we beat him up pretty good. The Gray kid from Oklahoma a couple years ago, I mean, we banged him around really good. So hopefully we're prepared for that. We're going to farm strength guys the first 2 days regardless of who we play. So it'll be fine. I truly think we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, it never ceases to amaze me. You give a team an extra out in the postseason, it normally comes back to haunt you. How comfortable are you right now as your defense?
Well, I mean, in the conference tournament, we played fantastic defensively, and I think we had one error that bothered me on a bump play that we just didn't communicate, whatever, and just one of those things, whatever. And it's really all my guys that never do that. So, but outside of that, I mean, we made play after play after play that we had to make, and probably was as consistent a defensive effort as we had put forth all year.
Yeah, they kind of made up for that with that double play to win the game there at the very end.
Oh yeah, no, that was something. That's not an easy double play playing back at first. The pitcher coming first. That's a lot of moving the baseball, and we made perfect throws on both of those, and got out a pretty fast, one of the fastest guys on their team. So it was well executed.
The performance you got from Billis in that championship game, what a boost that is for you. What does his emergence here now of late kind of mean to your pitching staff moving forward?
Well, it just gives us a number 3 guy that has number 1 type stuff, and if he can give us 5 to 6 innings in a regional up here, he'll be a handful. So his biggest thing was his securities of throwing strikes and things. The last couple of times out, he's pounded his own pretty good, and it was really good the other day. So, if he throws it like that, he'll give us a chance to beat about anybody.
So you go with your normal rotation starting on Friday. No fooling around with anything there, huh?
No, well, we're gonna throw back with game 1. He's just probably a little better matchup than Cunningham, and then we'll have Cunningham for game 2 and Billis for game 3.
Okay, and you feel good about the back end of that bullpen, huh?
Yeah, it's gotten better. I mean, Morrison's been absolutely unbelievable all year. Bobby Holmes taking him out of the rotation. I mean, he's gotten better and better and better in the bullpen, and Kitchen's kid has been really good for us as well. So, I feel very good about that part. These starters, knock on wood, hopefully they're going to give us 6 to 7 innings each time.
Well, best of luck to you in Raleigh. We will be following very closely. Hope it goes well, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week about a super regional, maybe to LSU, or who knows? You win, they lose, you have it at your place.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, that's what we're hoping. We just got to focus on one pitch at 2:00 on Friday and go from there.
All right, sir. Safe travels. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Gary Gilmore from Coastal. Coastal's got the most wins in their region. They're 44-15. St. Mary's is 33-23. Navy 42-14-1, and NC State 35-20. Now, the guys, when they had the selection show in talking about this region, they were very high on Navy as a very scary 4 seed and a team that could, cause NC State a bit of a problem here or there. And you're laughing because they probably have a David Robinson as their number 1 pitcher. That some guy that just emerged as a flamethrower.
Well, I'm laughing because you almost, by the reason that for whatever reason we always think that the military guys with the high academic standards it is to get in the Navy, that the one key thing about any of their teams that they don't beat themselves. You have to beat them. So if you're waiting for them to make a mistake, ain't going to happen. You got to beat them.
Yeah.
And I think NC State has a quality team that they can win the first game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll be right back. Thanks again to Gary Gilmore for visiting with us here on Sports Talk, brought to you by South Carolina Soybean Farm. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. Today, USC had a media session previewing the regional. Here is left fielder Alex Destino. He's got to be a key for the Gamecocks with his bat. He's got to come through with timely hits and some power. Here he is talking with the media, of course, about being back in regional play and especially being in Columbia for this first round of regions.
Oh, it's very, very exciting. This is definitely something I came to school for, and last year missing out on it was tough, no doubt. But that kind of put a chip on my shoulder to get back to this point. And I think this year, exciting is the word I'm going to keep using. It's a very fun time, and I know it's going to be.
This kid's a beast.
No, but I'm looking forward to it. I know the whole team is, so we're just gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Is that an accurate statement?
No, I don't know about that. Braden's a knucklehead. Hopefully, I'll try this weekend.
Coach Holbrook said after this week, you guys would be sick of seeing him. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah. I mean, we've been getting at it a lot. It's obviously none of us can complain. We know we're getting better, but we sure have seen a lot of coach. We've been going mornings and in the afternoon, so. It's all for the best, but yeah, that was a very good statement by him.
His level of intensity this week is just the highest it's been all season.
From a practice standpoint, it's definitely up there. I mean, we'll have our day tomorrow that's kind of eases us back into it, but up until then, the past week and a half or so has been very intense. We finished Hoover not like we wanted to, obviously, and he's not coming in with an angry approach at us in practice, but it's a very intense, very critical practice plan, and it's been good so far. He's keeping us loose.
What have you been able to learn about Rhode Island and specifically their starting pitcher? Yeah,
we haven't, like I said earlier, we haven't done a whole lot of video scouting reports on him yet, but from judging strictly by his numbers, we're gonna have our hands full. Hearing about these kids, you don't really hear much about them throughout the year. Obviously, judging by his numbers, and I've seen some things that other people say about him, very impressive. We're going to have our hands full, and I'm very excited for the challenge he'll present.
At what point during the weekend do you start looking at maybe a Duke or UNC Wilmington, a team you might have to face, Saturday or Sunday?
To be honest, after the Rhode Island game, that's my sole focus right now, going into that game. And the night after that outcome comes about, that's when I'll be focused on whoever we play next.
With your background, do you know a ton of players at Duke and UNCW?
I actually, UNCW, summer team, I played out in Wilmington, and I played, I guess, with 3 or 4 starters out there. So very talented team, but it'll be good to see those guys. But as of right now, like I was saying, focus on Rhode Island. But yeah.
Other guys said that you've been playing with a chip on your shoulder all year long. Is that chip a little bigger after being slighted and not getting a top 8 national seed?
I wouldn't say there's really a lot of anger. We're kind of aware how we played in Hoover, how that kind of put our situation. But the top 8 seeds are very, very deserving of what they've gotten. So I wouldn't say we have a chip on our shoulder, but going back to the postseason for this program is very good, and we're very thankful that we're here, and we plan on playing our best baseball going in.
Okay, Alex Destino of the Gamecocks. To the phones we go once again, and it is Bulldog Bert in Saluda. BB, what be happening, BB? Where's Georgia on that list? Let me look. There they are, way on down there.
You talking about on the Power 5 conferences?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm really upset about it. I think that it's a monopoly. It's controlling a lot of the advertising dollars. I was commenting to a friend today, this would be a perfect opportunity for somebody to come in and compete against ESPN for a lot of this advertising revenue in games and break up that monopoly that's going on. I think it'll happen. When you got Nick Saban out there saying we need a commissioner, all this, that must be a dummy that he's going to control or something, which I don't like anything Nick Saban says, anything I'm against it. And what it does, it hurts our smaller schools. I've always been an advocate that we need to stand up against all this monopoly and money-making scheme that the NCAA has going on
And if they're going to make money, they need to share the wealth. It doesn't need to be where they contain it, and especially the TV revenue and all that. It needs to be spread out evenly. And just saying the other are going to be the other conferences.
Well, the problem is that you got those who feel like, we're earning the money, and why should we give it to those who aren't earning the money? I mean, let's face it. You've got your schools that are the big attractions for television, and they're the ones that are the reason you're getting the big dollars from the television networks now, and sharing with those that don't contribute bothers them. I want to follow back up on BB's comment there. I'll do recruiting here in a couple of minutes, maybe after the top of the hour break, but I want to just I didn't get a chance to fully comment on what he was talking about. And I'm not sure if he kind of picked up in midstream there. We weren't even talking about ESPN. I don't know if he got confused and heard it somewhere else and was bringing it to our attention or what. Talking about I think he was talking about a story that has come out regarding ESPN and their continued loss of subscribers, which has to be a big concern across all platforms and all sports, because ESPN is the major provider of revenue for so many leagues. In fact, I've got the story here that was written by Clay Travis, who does a great job of monitoring this story. He wrote about it last year. He's followed up with it here again this week. Citing the 2016 Nielsen data, ESPN lost over 1.5 million subscribers from February to the end of May. That drops them under 90 million subscriber homes. And you say, what's the big deal? Well, they were at 99 million in 2013. Based on those numbers, ESPN is losing on average per day 10.4 thousand subscribers, 10,400 subscribers per day at $80 per subscriber. According to Clay Travis, every ESPN subscriber is worth roughly $80 a year to the company. So every day, February, March, April, and May, ESPN lost $800,000 in yearly subscriber revenue. That's every day. That means ESPN has now lost 10 million subscribers in the past 2.5 years. And he goes on to say that figuring each of those subscribers is paying in the neighborhood of $80 a year, we're talking about ESPN losing revenue of $840 million a year in the past 3 years. That's over $2.5 billion a network was expecting that it will never see. Toss in the subscriber losses at the Deuce, the U. ESPN has lost over $1 billion a year, $3 billion total in revenue over the past 3 years. Now, they are on the hook to the networks, to the sports, I'm sorry. They're on the hook for unbelievable sums of money. $1.9 billion a year to the NFL for Monday Night Football, $1.47 billion to the NBA, $700 million to MLB, $608 million to the College Football Playoff, hundreds of millions more to the SEC, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12. Absolute ESPN presently pays out nearly $6 billion a year to sports leagues just in rights. How are they going to survive?
Disney,
moving forward. Well, even a big company like Disney with all their money can't afford that kind of hemorrhaging. Scary. It's scary.
Fox, come on.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Let's get to recruiting because it's jam-packed on this Wednesday night. First of all, Clemson on Saturday had a visit from 2018 quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 6'2", 195 of Las Vegas, spent several hours visiting with the Tigers, said he loved the facility and the blueprints for the stuff they're building. Family-oriented there, likes Dabo Swinney, talks to Brandon Streeter weekly. He's not been offered by Clemson yet, but that has not diminished his interest in the program. He's a dual-threat quarterback and sees himself fitting into Clemson's offense perfectly. And he said that, he kind of thinks he could be the next Deshaun Watson. That's what they're telling him, and he said he thinks the same thing. He said their offense is pretty much the same as he runs in high school. He has offers from Colorado, Michigan State, Missouri, and Utah. Oregon and UCLA are others involved. He'll visit Oregon this summer. He's already been to Southern Cal, Michigan, Michigan State, Arizona State, UNLV. Not rushing into anything right now. He's actually the backup quarterback at his school because Tate Martell, highly rated senior, is ahead of him. Athlete Tansy Richardson of South Aiken was at USC yesterday, his second unofficial with the Gamecocks in May. Visit went well, he said, did not get an offer, but they do like him. They want to see him in camp. Says he'll probably camp at USC this weekend. USC offered running back Jalen Holston of Stockbridge, Georgia, defensive end Tyree Johnson of Washington, D.C., 2018 receiver Shockey Jacques Louis of Lehigh Acres, Florida, and defensive back Grant Delpit of Houston and IMG Academy in Florida. Clemson also has offered him. Punter Demani Hammett, 6'3", 145, Lithonia, Georgia, will attend USC specialist camp on Sunday. He was invited by the Gamecocks to attend that. Offensive lineman Tanner Lawson of TL Hanna was offered today by North Greenville. USC today offered defensive back Troy Young of Mobile, Alabama. Clemson offered 2019 linebacker Charles Thomas of Fairburn, Georgia, and 2018 linebacker Eric Gilliard of Jacksonville. Defensive end Jordan Williams of Virginia released his top 5 today. Clemson, Tennessee, Virginia, Ohio State, and Virginia Tech. USC offered receiver Jeremy Singleton of New Orleans. Clemson basketball today offered 2018 6'5" Trey Wirtz of Charlotte. He was on an unofficial visit to Clemson. His father, by the way, is the sports writer at The Observer, Langston Wirtz.
Interesting.
So you know who'll break his commitment story when that comes. And Presbyterian signed 6'6" Jovante Milner of North Carolina. And Newberry signed 6'1" Quamon Burton, a transfer from Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Quite a busy day in recruiting. You can read all about it regularly on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter at sportstalksc. We'll do some football with Benedict College coming up after the break here on Sports Talk. Hey, we're back with you here on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut, the Professor Tom Hayes. Good to have you with us here on this Tuesday night. Make that Wednesday night. Let's don't back it up, Corn. Let's get this week over. Let's don't back it up.
It's hump day.
Wednesday night, reminding you whether you are a part of the Gamecock Nation or you bleed Clemson orange, everyone can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union with a convenient location at the Russell House at USC, a new location on Highway 93 in Clemson coming soon. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. All right, waiting to hear from Coach White over at Benedict College, scheduled to be with us here at this point. So we'll wait a couple of moments here and hope that he will join us. Benedict did not win a game last year. So you talk about a program that's got to be hungry and looking forward to getting underway here in 2016. You go through a winless season. They had some chances. They had some relatively close losses, but I'm sure they worked hard in the spring and looking forward to getting that first win in 2016 when the season rolls around. Hopefully, we will be chatting with him shortly. In the meantime, Clemson getting ready for its regional opener against Western Carolina Friday night up at Doug Kingsmore State. The Tigers, the number 7 national seed, they smell Omaha. Their last game in Omaha was 2010. Remember the loss to South Carolina? Then they had a regional at their place the next year. Thought they would be coming to Columbia in the Super Regional, lost to Connecticut. That was the last time the Tigers hosted a regional, 2011. So they're back home this time, and now they're thinking about getting to Omaha. But first things first, they got to get past Western Carolina and win a regional that has 2 other Power 5 conference teams in there in Nebraska and Oklahoma State. Clayton Schmidt will be on the mound for the Tigers. And, you know, the media here, like everywhere else, we're not very smart as a group. I mean, I'm kind of an exception, but as a group, we're not very smart. So you get questions that aren't really timely, very smart. So here the guy has got to beat West Carolina, but we have a media session with him, and people want to already talk about facing his brother in South Carolina in a showdown in the Super Regional. Well, anyway, let's listen in. That was the first question he was asked to talk about. He was very kind. I would have jumped down the guy's throat and said, are you kidding me, man? I got to beat Western Carolina first before we worry about that. But anyway, here he is answering the question about possibly facing the Gamecocks and his brother in a Super.
I know you don't want to talk about it right now because you got this regional, but the possibility that could happen next week with your brother. Have y'all talked at all about the possibility?
We haven't really talked upon the possibility of it occurring. We just wanted to focus on what we're doing right now this weekend. It's going to be both of our regionals are extremely tough, and I know personally I want to be able to first off prove that we can host regional and be a national seed, and that we earn that rank, and be able to come out here on Friday and be able to get DKS rocking with all the fans and give everybody a show.
Would it, if you do get to that point though, would it be neat to, what if you, I mean, if there's a possibility, what if y'all pitch against each other? I mean, I know your dad doesn't want that to happen.
Of course, my parents are, they've already discussed that side of things, if it would happen, but I mean, you know what, it would be awesome just to be able to make a Super. My 4 years of being here, I know that how difficult it is to be able to go through the postseason, be able to make a regional and push to and be able to make it to a Super Regional. And I would just be able to be blessed to be able to do it with this group of guys.
What's it like for you, you know, after everything you've been through and everything personally too, to be sitting here this week hosting a regional and not have to be cooped up in some hotel somewhere?
It's so incredible. After we won the ACC championship, I really couldn't fathom what was going on, and just to think that where we were from my freshman year and where I was just literally a year ago, it's such a blessing, man. And I can't thank everybody enough for the support and the love that they've shown me and my family to getting back to this point, produce for this school, be able to bring a national seed and a host to this school is something that's so incredible, man. I'm so very blessed to be a part of it.
After what this team's been through the last couple of years with the ups and downs, losing the coach, what does it mean to this program to have a regional back in Clemson?
It's unreal. Just the fuel and the passion that's baseball here at Clemson. It's unlike any place ever in the country. And to be a part of that and to be able to bring that ACC championship tradition and that host tradition back to Clemson, it's such an unreal feeling for not only myself but our entire team. And to be able to do that, and after what we've been through these 4 years and being able to be at the new helm with Coach and for what he's done for this team, it's such a great feeling, and I'm so blessed to be part of it.
All right, Clayton Schmidt, Clemson's starter Friday night against Western Carolina. Keep in mind that the Tigers have played Western Carolina twice this season, and they were both really close games. This is not – now, maybe, Clemson's taking their game to another level here at this point, and, based on the evidence we saw with the sweep of Notre Dame on the road and the 4-game sweep in the ACC tournament, maybe they have done just that. But Western Carolina, they played earlier in the year back on March 31st, and the Tigers won that one 10-8. And that particular game, it was Riley Gillum started for the Tigers, a midweek game, so they weren't using their top-line pitching. He went 6 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs. Patrick Andrews and Alex Bostic also pitched. Tigers committed a couple of errors, had 8 hits. Western had 8 hits and a couple of errors as well. Chris Williams had 2 hits and 2 RBIs for the Tigers. Chase Penn also had a couple of RBIs for Clemson in that game. So they won that one 10-8. And then the second game they faced them April 13th, which was at Clemson. That first game was in Cullowhee. This one went 10 innings. The Tigers won it 7-6. They also committed 2 errors in that game. And Jake Higginbotham started, of course, now. He was later lost for the season. Brooks Crawford, Andrews, Bostic, and Pat Krall pitched as well. He was his normal self, 2 innings, struck out 1. But the Tigers had to go 10. They scored a run in the 10th inning to win that one. And the point is that they've had trouble with this Western Carolina team. And now, you'll see they're going to see Western's #1 pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see him in either one of those games. And, of course, Western's going to see Clemson's top-line pitching as well. So I'm just saying this could be a very – based on these two, it could be a very tight game. And Clemson has somehow reached where it's reached to this point by having shoddy defensive play most of the season. And they've been able to get around that. But, when you get down to these kind of games now, unless their offense just cranks it up and – if they're hitting the ball like they did against Florida State, if they're scoring 18 runs, it's not going to matter. But if it's a 2-1, 3-2, that kind of game, and you make an error, that's when it becomes critical.
Well, again, and Florida State was, doing their best imitation of the Keystone Cops too in the field.
That was funny at times. Wasn't it?
But it was about 3 or 4 errors on actually one sequence of plays. On one hit to the outfield.
Well, they had a Little League home run.
Mm-hmm.
Okie had the Little League home run where he hits it to the outfielder and he throws it past the cutoff man. He threw it past the catcher, and Okie circled the bases. And we all had that in Little League, didn't we?
Yeah.
Of course, I did have a legitimate home run.
I just counted as a single.
Did you ever hit a home run? Did you play high school baseball?
No.
I was a power hitter in high school baseball.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hit a home run at Green Sea Floyd's.
Under the fence.
No. It went over. It actually landed in a rusted out car in the field past the ditch. The ditch served as the end of the baseball diamond. And it landed in a junked out, rusted car in the field just behind the ditch.
Well, I tell you what.
It was a home run.
If Clemson gets the hits they had in the tournament out of the bottom of their lineup, they can beat anybody in the country.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll be back in a moment. Okay, back with you, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Stand by for SC Wild coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Captain Billy Downer in the house. So those of you out there who are into the great outdoors, hunting, fishing, archery, anything else that requires you to go outside and do things, make a campfire, chop down a tree. We talk about all those things on SC Wild. Feel free to join in with your phone calls, with your tweets, with your emails to us here at Sports Talk. The captain is here, and he will answer those for you. Okay, little note that Pro ran across regarding USC assistant baseball coach.
It was on the Big Spur website, fan website. John Whittle saying that South Carolina assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Sammy Esposito was mentioned by D1 baseball analyst Kendall Rogers as a possible candidate to keep an eye on for the vacant head coaching position at Appalachian State.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he has many ties to the state of North Carolina, and he has family that lives in Boone. And they said it's the kind of job, sort of a mid-major job, that would be a nice launching point if Esposito has aspirations of being a head coach down the road at a major institution. So,
all right. Very good. Good luck to him on that, if indeed it is, he wants to pursue. This note as well. No, this is not a good note, but it's in the news. We have to pass it along to you. Former Clemson and Citadel baseball player Bradley Felder pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute and to distribute a quantity of Molly and 50 kilograms or more of marijuana. Co-defendant in the case, Everett Rhett Berry, also pleaded guilty. This was today. They pleaded guilty. Importing the drug Molly from China. Evidence gathered by the DEA revealed the two involved in a drug ring that brought Molly and marijuana into Lexington and Richland counties in the summer of 2013. Felder was getting the marijuana from Northern California and Molly from China. DEA agents learned that Felder was renting numerous houses and apartments in Richland and Lexington counties to use as addresses to ship and receive the drugs. During the investigation, agents intercepted 9 packages of Molly. $150,000 in cash was seized as well. When they arrested Felder, they discovered nearly $1,500 in cash, a loaded pistol, 2 watches with a combined value of more than $100,000, and cell phones. Sentencing for both men will take place at another date. So,
well, if you carried around a lot of cash, there's a weapon somewhere around there.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, but I congratulate DEA and law enforcement for doing their jobs, which is what you asked them to do.
We're doing a lot of import business with China, but not that kind of import business.
You think that's what Donald Trump has in mind when he talks about improving trade relations with China? All right, we'll be back. It is SC Wild here on Sports Talk. Don't go away.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Okay, we're back with you here. It is South Carolina Radio Network. It is the Sports Talk session tonight of SC Wild, and we welcome back to our microphones the captain, Billy Downer, who was away last week up in the way northeast.
Yes, Vermont.
Yeah, how was it?
It was nice. I mean, a couple interesting little facts. Did not know Vermont was the second least populated state in America.
Think I'll move there.
Next to Wyoming. They have Lake Champlain. It was okay.
Yeah. Lake Champlain was just okay?
Yeah.
It didn't impress you?
Not really.
Yeah. Did you get us anything to remember the trip? I asked you to bring back some
maple syrup.
Yeah.
I've got maple syrup.
You do have real?
I don't have it with me. I would bring it back.
Tapped right out of the tree?
Brought it out. It's in a maple leaf.
How about that? What was your weather?
Weather was good. The weird thing there, light at 5 o'clock. And I mean daylight at 5 o'clock.
Really?
Gets dark at 8:30.
Yeah.
Like around here, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Are they on daylight savings time?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was daylight.
Well, daylight savings time, not Eastern Standard.
Well, they're on Eastern Standard Time. I mean, it's the same time. So, 5 o'clock there is 5 o'clock here. It's just, you must be close to the sun.
I guess.
Yes.
But daylight savings is.
Yeah, it's daylight savings time, same time.
Right. I got you.
Nothing changes.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. Let's talk about. Oh, wait a minute. You want to give a shout out to.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Do your shout out.
Getting our 3A state baseball and softball champion.
This would be
co-champions from the Lawrence Manning Academy.
Lawrence Manning.
Got to congratulate them. 3A Skeeza state champion. My daughter's on the team.
Okay, very nice.
For softball, not baseball.
Yeah.
We are proud of them.
Hey, if she played baseball, that'd be fine with me. What the heck?
We don't need to. Softball's a better game.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched
faster game. Softball
Phil. Is
fast game.
What position does she play?
Center field.
Okay. So she's not in that little circle where the ball comes right back at you and you got no time to react.
Correct.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. They need to lengthen it's just everything's so condensed. I mean, it's like what, 60 feet down the line or something to the bases?
Yes, it's a faster game.
Yeah.
Speeds things up. You're pitching you're pitching real close.
That's true.
That's why the 60-mile-an-hour pitch is like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Mm-hmm. And you can, because you're throwing underarm, you can pitch 90 innings, in a week.
Apparently.
They
can pitch for a long time.
All right, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we got callers waiting, 800-956-726. Let's go ahead and jump to the calls and see what is on the mind of the listeners.
Sure, go ahead.
Because they might have some good ideas that they want to share with us, and we can go from there. We're going to talk some saltwater fishing tonight. We're going to talk alligators because everybody who has seen the video of that creature
absolutely
crossing the golf course, where was that, down in Florida?
That was in Florida. Got it pulled up for you.
Okay. That's the scariest thing I think I've ever seen. One of the scariest things I think I've ever seen.
It's pretty cool.
Let's go to John. Okay, John, welcome in. SC Wild here with the captain, Billy Downer.
Okay, I just got a couple of, I'll make a comment, and I called a couple of weeks ago about invasive species. I first want to ask him about lionfish off of the coast in the Atlantic. Are we having any problem with them in this area? And then I'll go ahead and put the second part in there, and I'll get off the phone and let everybody else get on. This weekend I was watching PBS, and I was on the ETV station, and they were covering the Burmese Pipeline project up at Davidson College. And they were talking about the problem that it's become down in the Everglades.
Sure.
It's into Georgia, and they're saying it's creeping further north each year. And what they were saying was it could possibly come as far north as the Virginia border in the Washington area. And I just find that kind of, do they have the capacity to shut down their metabolism or hibernate or something other? And I was wanting to see if he thought that was possibly feasible or if it could be done, and just get his thoughts on it. Thanks, fellas.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, let's hit the first questions of lionfish. Lionfish do occur off of our coast, no doubt about it. I actually caught one years ago. Don't know that they are a problem in our waters as far as being invasive to the point of changing the way things are working off our coast and the ecosystem. So I don't know that to be a problem at this time. Now, the Burmese python, whole nother subject, absolutely a tremendous problem in Florida. And how did it start? People let their pets go. I mean, these things didn't live here. People would grab, people would go out and buy a snake and then let it go because they can't feed it or don't want him dead. When he gets too large, they let it go. And Florida's temperature and their climate is such that these pythons can survive. So key point to your question, you ask about them moving north. If they're moving into Georgia, I haven't heard that. The only way these animals, those snakes, can continue to survive north of Florida is because of mild weather. We typically have very cold winters here. I don't see that snake ever surviving here. Florida does not have the 20s. They don't get down in the 20s much ever. Northern Florida does sometimes. They have the orange groves and things. So again, very unlikely that the Burmese python could survive as far north, even as South Carolina. Now, I'm sure if milder temperatures prevailed through a winter, yes, you could get some survivability there. But for the most part, our winters are too cold for them to survive. So that is a natural defense mechanism for us, is just the cold weather we have.
Would you like a python as a pet? Would you ever have one in your house?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What do they eat?
Anything they can catch, probably when they get big, they're going to eat larger animals.
What's the largest thing a python can?
Well, it just depends on what, there's pictures of things eating crocodilians and things like that, small caimans things in other countries, and small mammals and larger mammals. I've seen pictures of a big one, anaconda, or things like gutted open with a deer-sized animal. So, I mean, as big as the animal gets, again, their mouth, they can open their mouth up 3 times normal size. It's huge to swallow. If they can put their mouth around it, they can swallow it.
All right, back to the phones we go. And it is, Cockett here in Columbia, on with the captain. Cockett and the captain. Sounds like a TV show.
Captain, let me tell you this, man. It's good to have you back, man. Glad you came back in one piece. Just been praying for you, brother. I know you out there in that wildlife, man. You just telling us how we need to hunt and survive. I just hope that my boy Donald Trump do that with the Hillary Clinton just coming this year. But trying to get some information. My wife, she's just so fascinated over, and she wants to go to a bee farm, the kind of like stick her hand in a honeycomb tree like they got in China. They got a lot of honeycomb tree. Honeycombs is a big revenue in China, and she just wanted to know that where could we go to a honeycomb or honey farm where we could just bring some honeycombs to the house and stuff like that. That's one of the questions.
I thought you were her honeybee.
No. Oh well. You know that, but I'm just saying. The next one was she want to know is she loves salmon. She's a big salmon eater. That is a big revenue in China because it's more cold water. Do you see any good salmon anywhere on the coast of South Carolina? Because it's costly when you go to the grocery store. So just want to get your opinion on that.
All right, thank you very much. Those are 2 really good questions. What about the honeybee?
First one would be the honeybee. That is again in today's society, growing your own chickens, growing your own vegetables, and now beehives. Being a beekeeping is becoming very popular again. Folks have been keeping bees for years. Farmers in South Carolina are actually using bees to help pollinate their crops. It's a natural part of the process. So there are several locations you can go for bees. We can get back to that at the break, but you can go online, Cocky, and find it, buddy. Get on there and
is there a list?
Yeah, it's got scstatebeekeepers.com.
Okay.
You've got Aiken Beekeepers, Carolina Bees.
She wants to stick her arm right dead in there, right?
Well, you're going to have to go somewhere where they've got these the beehives.
All right. Hang on. We'll talk more about it in a moment.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
And we are back at Sports Talk, SC Wild on this Wednesday night. Captain Billy Downer here with us from DNR. Appreciate the calls. If you have more calls for him, 800-956-7266, or email talkback@sportstalksc.com, or drop us a question or comment on Twitter @SportsTalkSC is where you get us there on Twitter. Okay, so go back.
Let's give Cockett one more piece of
answer
information
to those questions.
The South Carolina Beekeeper Association, Cockett, send the wife there online, scbeekeepers.com. Source for everything bees in South Carolina. Shows you how to start, where to go. If she wants to go experience a hive somewhere, you're going to have to put the white suit on, of course, to dip your hand in the honey bowl, so to speak. But scbeekeepers.com. You know, we've gone from fish to snakes to bees. Let's go back to reptilians for a little bit. Snakes was a good choice.
Like alligators?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about this big monster alligator that
absolutely
went walking across a golf course? Where was that? Down in Florida?
That was in Florida. I got the video right here up, so we can all watch that. Yep, the video. If you've seen the video, it's gone viral. The large alligator walking across the golf course in Florida. Everyone wanting to know, how big is it?
How big is it?
You know, if I had to look at it, I'm saying that gator's anywhere is over 12. I'm going to say 13 to 14 feet.
I mean, he looks like something out of a Jurassic Park.
It does. It does. You look how large the guy is in the foreground. You always want to judge a video. This guy in the foreground is going to be, average height male, 5'8", 5'10". This gator's at least 13 feet, probably 14 feet long.
Now, is that golf course, is it near a swamp? Is it near a river? What's it near?
Everywhere in Florida is near a swamp.
Well, that's
true.
true.
What kind of question?
That's a pretty stupid question, Corn.
Yeah.
That deserved a pretty stupid answer. Now, what if that critter turned and came after the guys on the golf course there?
You hear the guy in there. Go get close to it. Go get close to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, gators can move fairly fast. How do we go there?
Who is that?
I don't know.
But I like.
But the video, if it turns, they're going to move. They can move very fast in short spurts.
Yeah.
You've heard they can outrun a horse. They can't outrun a horse over a long period. But in a short burst, alligators can move very quickly.
Well, they do have alligator arms.
Like the commercial.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. The commercial can't quite reach the bill.
But that critter, if it were to get a hold of you,
it could hurt you.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Now, on our side is the natural fear of humans. Remember that.
Yeah.
We talk about alligators. One of the things got to keep in mind is it's a wild animal. Okay, it's there to survive. It's got a brain the size of a walnut. We've talked about that. That brain the size of a walnut.
Perfect.
Tells you to do two things:
fit right in with
eat
us
and reproduce. Now, when it's looking at you, it's trying to decide which one am I going to do. So
eat and reproduce.
You give that animal some space. We talk about people all the time. If you see an alligator in the wild, leave it alone. Keep your distance.
Right.
Don't feed it, because when you feed it, it associates now food with a human, and that's not a good thing. Most of the problems and interactions we have with alligators that are problems stem back from people feeding them, and they associate the food with the human. So now the human shows up, they're waiting for food. All of a sudden, you don't feed it, or the next person comes up, they don't feed it. Again, short temper. Where's the food at?
Now, if there's one that big there,
sure,
isn't it reasonable to think there are others that size?
Absolutely. Florida's population is so much larger than ours. Again, in South Carolina, we have around 100,000 animals. I don't know what Florida's population is estimated, but I know it's larger than that, much larger.
Yeah.
They have so much more areas up and down that Florida that are just untouched by humans. The Everglades,
right?
All those large areas of swamps. Again, South Carolina, though, we've got alligators from all the way down the coast, all the way up, basically up through the I-20 line. That's kind of our lines, the I-20 line from Aiken to Kershaw County, and then up US 1 towards Cheraw. Outside of that, they can be found in very small numbers because, again, their temperature goes back to that temperature of reptiles. Reptiles, cold-blooded animals, they when it gets cold, their process slows down. If it gets too cold, it kills them. They can't take the cold. So alligators aren't found up in upper, real far upstate because they can't handle the cold temperatures.
You know, I see gators various golf courses down around the low country.
Sure.
And you see them, and usually they're not a problem. They're just sitting in the water, resting, minding their own business. And, you know, some golfer will go over there and throw a ball at them or yell at them or something like that and disturb them. And I'm like, you know, hey.
And you hear the
leave 'em
stories
alone.
of people reaching down to get their ball and the gator comes to attack them. Well, you know, again, thinking about a gator, small brain, different time. You get spring and summer, you get in the nesting season. Alligators sitting there, and when an alligator's nesting season, they're going to be more territorial. Again, give them space.
Yeah. There was a story just a couple of years ago, right? Down in South Carolina,
Yep.
some guy reached down to get.
I want to say it was down on one of the islands.
Somebody called it on film, right? He lost his arm or something. The gator came
I
up.
don't know if he lost his arm. I think he got bit there. I do remember hearing that.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back.
Sure.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Really, the star of the show is Captain Downer. I'm just here for the ride. You're the
come
star.
on, Phil.
It's
a team effort.
You are the center of this universe, and we're just visiting.
No.
We didn't answer the question about salmon.
Yes,
for
we
cockets.
did miss the salmon.
Yeah,
for
is there
cockets.
salmon off South Carolina?
There are no salmon that occur in South Carolina.
Because
we do have trout.
Why don't we have salmon?
Ecologically, it's not where they're at. We have trout in South Carolina. We have,
but that's not salmon.
Brook trout. We have lake trout. We don't have salmon. Now, salmon do occur, and they do occur out west, of course.
If I went to Seattle,
sure,
and I captured some salmon,
yes,
and I brought them back to South Carolina, and I dumped them in like the PD River,
they're not gonna make it.
Not gonna make it.
Not gonna make it.
Now, they're a freshwater fish.
Freshwater and saltwater. They're one of those fish that goes from salt to fresh. Remember, they go upriver, upstream. Those things. So,
but I could. I mean,
fish.
has anybody ever tried?
I'm sure somebody's tried it. I mean, people are putting snakes out in Florida. Come on, they've tried everything.
Well, I could be talking about a multi-billion-dollar business starting up here. Corn salmon farm.
But that's a losing proposition.
You don't think so?
But salmon, as far as where's the best place to get salmon? You know, go to a good fish store.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you got to be careful. You know, a lot of different. There's 5 varieties of salmon. I learned this from my good friend from Alaska, who's my counterpart in Alaska. She was going through the 5 species of salmon. But anyway, they've got Chinook, chum, coho, pink salmon, sockeye salmon. variety of king salmon, of course, in there. So
yeah.
But the different varieties. You see a lot of the sockeye, real red salmon you see in the stores.
Yeah. The salmon you can get salmon at any fish restaurant along the coast, anywhere. But
that's true.
Where are they getting it from? I mean, is it
probably from the West Coast?
Which variety are they serving?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I'm going to say that's probably you may get some Atlantic salmon, but the Chinook, some of the other salmon that are more widely popular, or where you can get that. But let's talk about fish here in South Carolina for a minute.
By the way, salmon, sushi salmon. Sushi. Right. That's my favorite.
I prefer tuna.
No, I prefer salmon.
Something here
I can eat.
You can get tuna.
I love the salmon sushi. Salmon sushi combo with the salmon California rolls.
Well,
go ahead.
All right. So we had a tropical storm this past weekend. I talked to my good friend and our partner, Sergeant Amos McBride, tells me that the coast has been messed up with the wind and the weather. This weekend coming up, you're going to have a spring tide, so stronger. You're going to have a real high tide and a low tide, so extreme tide, fast-moving water, muddy water, not going to be good for fishing this weekend probably. But after that, waters will clear up, looking good for flounder and gigging in the evening. Still hearing good reports on speckled trout. Bite's still pretty strong up and down the coast. So go out there and go fishing on the coast. Have fun. Warmer weather. Watch out for the no-shims.
Yes.
Wear some type of insect repellent, something strong.
And wear
something
something
better than
wear
that.
something for the sun protection too.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you, Captain.
Always good to be here.
Always great seeing you. And we thank you for joining us here for this edition of SC Wild on Sports Talk. Thank you, Carson Mason. Great job. Thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.